What do you do when the people around you hold a lot of power, but not necessarily the title? The administrative assistants, the office managers, the gatekeepers. They control access. They influence decisions. They can make your day smoother or a lot harder. And sometimes, if we're being honest, you don't love how they communicate. But you're not trying to confront them. You're not trying to challenge the power dynamic. You just want to show up as yourself, professional, respectful, grounded. But instead, you find yourself over explaining, maybe talking a little too fast, tiptoeing around conversations, or leaving interactions feeling tense or even irritated. In today's episode, we're talking about how to communicate in a way that stays aligned with your values, even when you're navigating tricky power dynamics. If you've ever felt like you had to manage someone's mood to get things done, adjust your tone to avoid friction, walked away thinking, why did I say it like that? This episode is for you. Because here's the shift. This isn't about their authority. It's about your alignment within it. Welcome to Communication Skills for Working Women. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Rose May. Do you find yourself second guessing or avoiding conversations because you're worried about being misunderstood?
You're not alone. On this show, we're sharing tangible tools for assertiveness, emotional resilience, and real life communication wins and fails.
Let's sharpen our communication together. I'm going to tell you a story about a person named Susie. I have de-identified her. She is not actually called Susie. Susie plays a very big, Susie has a very big job within the organization, and it is an administrative job. Susie literally has the power to make my life hell and everybody else's life hell, actually. Because if Susie don't like you, things ain't gonna get done and it's gonna fall on you. And if you're walking into, like, I'm walking into this organization like new at this time, so there's a lot of ins and outs that I just don't know. I don't know how to do things. I don't even know where to go for some things, and like organizational chart doesn't help much, right? Like for everyday logistical things, it's not always helpful. But Susie knows everything because Susie's been here for like 45 years, right? But Susie is a jerk. She is a jerk. And what I've heard is that you have to get on Susie's good side in order for your life to run smoothly. And it sounds like most people don't have a problem with that. And I understand how, if this is a long-term career for you, you probably do want to get on Susie's good side. But why do I have to get on someone's good side in order for them to do their job and to be nice? Case in point.
And
One,
question,
yeah.
wait, I just want to confirm. You have to get on the good side. You don't start on the
Yes.
good side? Oh,
Yes, you
okay.
have to earn your way to the good side.
That's a hard one. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
So, that's okay. One time, I may or may not have used the company credit card to go do something. It was within budget, and it was actually, yeah, she gave me the credit card to purchase something, right? That I was using for the organization. And I forgot to get an itemized receipt. We went out to eat. That's the thing. Like, and this was this is something that is normally done. So this is like not outside of the realm of what we do normally. But we're supposed to get an itemized receipt, and I just forgot. I forgot. Like, I just forgot. We all ate out and got the receipt, and I was so proud of myself because for once I didn't forget to get a receipt, because I don't ever get receipts for myself. So anyways, I didn't forget to get a receipt, so I was like so proud of myself. Brought the receipt up to Susie and got a very passive aggressive email from Susie about how I was making her life harder because I didn't have an itemized receipt. Now, I 1000% recognize that that was my error, and that it probably does make her life a lot harder when we don't do those things. And so, of course, I felt so dumb. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I forget to get an itemized receipt? Like, She told me that like a million times, and well, not a million times. She told me like twice. She told me like twice, like I needed to get an itemized receipt, and I just spaced it. So I felt really, really bad. But that passive aggressive email shifted it shifted my feelings from like feeling bad and like remorseful to like irate. I was irate and annoyed and frustrated with her because it wasn't necessary to send out a passive aggressive email. And I thought it was just me, but I sent it to the other coworkers. Well, actually, the other coworkers who had gone out to lunch were CC'd on that email. And and in a group chat we were kind of like, who's gonna answer Susie's email? And everyone was like, not me, not me, because that was crazy. And I was like, okay, I I'm reading this the right way. It came across very, very passive aggressively. And so I went, this was on a Friday, and like, I'm not kidding you, all weekend long, I was thinking about how I was going to respond to Susie and give her what she gave. I'm not even joking, but in a professional way. And I was like, but I'm going to do it in a professional way. It's not going to be passive aggressive, but it is going to be very firm. And I didn't. And thank goodness, because I later learned in a meeting, like probably on like Tuesday or Wednesday, that Susie literally has the power to make my life miserable. And if I would have sent that email, my life would probably be miserable right now. My work life, she would have made things 20 times harder. It's kind of crazy that this is just accepted. Like,
Right.
I feel like also like, should we not do something about Susie? But Susie is the gatekeeper. She knows all of the information. She knows where to go. She knows how to get things done, and she does them so effectively and efficiently when she is doing that, that everybody has just kind of accepted that we need to be on Susie's good side. Ugh, I'm still mad about it, but whatever.
I know we're going to go through like the communication framework and talk about you in this situation and how you handled it, but I am like so intrigued about Susie and why, I mean, the powers above her aren't doing some training and getting things done. Like, it's interesting, truly, the power of the gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't hold the title, even the influence they have over those that do hold the title.
Oh yeah.
Because if that individual does know all the things, like the other individuals need her
Yep. Do the
to
things.
do all the things.
Yes.
And so it can very quickly get very, very tricky. And it just I don't it
Yeah, that.
I'm trying to figure out what I want to say because it's the idea of being collaborative and working together and seeing the good in other people and in everyone. Like, what do we need to do for ourselves to get to that point
Yeah.
where, like, clearly that power and authority fills a need for her somewhere?
Oh, absolutely. Or she's just
And
a jerk. I mean, that could also be like some people are just jerks. Like they are. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Yes. And going off of what you're saying, like it fills a need somewhere in her life. Totally get that. And
yeah.
some people are just jerks.
See, I disagree. I don't think that some people are just jerks. I think there's always a reason. I like really believe that hurting people hurt people. And so
Mhm.
you don't hurt people unless you're hurting inside for some reason. But
I will say that I agree that that is sometimes the case. Yes. But I do believe there's a small percentage of people who are just jerks.
that are just jerks. And maybe that's true. Anyway, okay, we're going to
Okay,
talk about
anyways. So I'm not trying to change Susie because I'm not going to win. Susie is the keeper of all information. But I have at least one weekly interaction with Susie, and I'm like mad at her. I'm mad at her and I'm annoyed at her. And I'm annoyed that I have to show up a certain way to get on her good side. So I just don't feel like I'm showing up in a way that is authentic to me, right? Um and so yeah, again, this goes back to so many things that we've talked about. Like, I need to start moving away from how do I deal with Susie to like, how do I show up in a way that feels grounded and respectful for me
Yeah.
without necessarily shrinking. And that is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Really, really
Okay.
hard.
That is hard. This is hard. And this is hard for me right now. I want to just have a conversation with Rose and ask her some questions, but we're going to dig into the framework. Okay. So the framework, it's not about the controlling, the dynamic, like you just said. It's about staying steady inside of you. So you showing up in that grounded, authentic, in alignment way with yourself
Mm-hmm.
when you're interacting with Susie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So considering that scenario, what is your communication goal? Or do you want to go more general, like just in your interactions with her, what is your communication goal? Which way do you want to go?
You know, both.
Let's do
At
them
the
both.
yes, at the end of the day, like I really do just want to answer in a professional way that feels grounded. I don't, yeah, that's it. I just want to answer, I just want to respond to her or interact with her in a professional way that feels grounded, like I'm not betraying myself.
Yeah, like you're not walking away being ticked.
Yes,
You're
yes.
just having a professional
Relationship.
interaction. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what are you doing or not doing to support this goal?
Mm.
I so wish we were on YouTube right now, everyone, so you could have seen her face when I asked this question.
So many things. So many things. Honestly, first of all, I psych myself up before I go to that space. And I'm like,
Every time?
every time, because I know Susie's going to be there. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so I think that way. That's like the lead up. And then when I get there, this is also trauma response. I know this. I assess for her mood. Like, what mood
Oh,
is Susie going to be in right now? This is 1000% a trauma response for me. I do this like in a lot of areas of my life. But like, where is she right now? What's happening? And how do I need to adjust my tone, my facial expression, or even my demeanor?
that's a lot.
I know. I know. Now you see why this is a problem.
This is a hard one. Okay,
I
so
know.
what are your worries? And then what are the hidden commitments that you see from these worries around this? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, well, you said what you're doing. Is there anything you're not, before we move to that third question, sorry, is there anything you're not doing that you could be doing?
I'm definitely not being authentic, like in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. Yeah, I mean I'm not being like a real. Well, I shouldn't say a real human. I'm not being. I'm just not being genuine. I am like operating from a level of anxiety and fear instead of like operating at a level of like being in the present moment and just being.
Right.
I don't like that.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the worries and then those
Susie's gonna
hidden?
make my life difficult if I don't smile just right. Um, and Susie is one to talk. So Susie would talk to people in general and, talk about whatever interaction just like happened. So I'm afraid she would say some things that were probably from her perspective, like me, I don't know, maybe not being cordial or being difficult to work with. I honestly really afraid that she was gonna make my life harder. Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I really was. Yeah.
So your worries around Susie are that like you, basically what I'm hearing is that you don't feel safe around Susie.
No, I don't. Yes, that is exactly right. Because I have to get on her good side. I don't even know Susie well enough to know what her good side is. That is the other problem, is like I don't know this person. Like our interactions are weekly, but they're so short, so
Mm,
brief that I don't even have a time. I don't know what her good side is. Yeah,
right.
so there's a lot of uncertainty around that situation. Yeah.
So, what assumptions then do you make after you hear these worries and these hidden commitments? What assumptions are you making about her and you?
Yeah, Susie's gonna hate me and make my life miserable. Um, if I am straightforward or direct, then Susie is going to interpret that as me being difficult to work with, which we've already talked about in like so many episodes. Like, that is the space that I occupy as a person of color, right? So there's like that. Um, Assumptions, that other assumptions that I was making, that in order for things to go smoothly, I have to shrink, or uh, I have to change parts of myself that are not authentic to either who I am or to the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are pretty heavy. Like my heart feels heavy hearing these assumptions.
I know. You know what's crazy about this whole situation is, like, as I'm even like verbalizing this, I'm realizing like my weekly interaction with Susie is literally 15 seconds.
Mm,
It's not like a major part of my life, but it is one that annoys the living crap out of me every time I have to have that interaction, right? So I forget about it until I have to do it. I totally forget
right.
about it. So it's like such a small, very, very small, insignificant part of my life. And also, like, an assumption I'm making is like one screw up with Susie and I'm toast. I'm cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying it is this short, brief interaction. You aren't necessarily thinking about it beforehand, but you also said earlier that like every time you leave, you're ticked.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is a lasting impact.
Oh yeah.
Like you're able to compartmentalize, like it's not overtaking your life.
No.
It is impacting your life.
It is for like probably like 25 minutes in that one day out of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so, it's crazy because it really is like, compared to like all of the other things that I'm doing all week long, every single day, it is a very, very insignificant thing. And it like causes me like the thought, I probably will have to go see Susie today. And even the thought of it right now is like, as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh gosh, freaking Susie. Yeah.
Isn't it like to me, this is when it's like really interesting to get curious, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're having these consistent interactions with someone and then you can step back and start going through this framework and you're like, this is a 15-second interaction. It's
Yeah.
impacting you for 25 minutes. But then even hearing you say, like, this is a trauma response for me.
Oh
These are
yeah.
the assumptions I'm making. I'm moving back into these things. This is when the experiment and the solution part can get really exciting because this is like the perfect scenario to practice something, to
Exciting for who? For you. Not
for your future self.
for my future self. That's true. It is
For
exciting
your
for
future self, because this is such a low, well, it doesn't feel low stakes, and
right.
it potentially couldn't be low stakes, but your time, like your actual time and having to deal with it is pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
know when you're going to see her,
Yeah.
and you know it's not going to be for a long amount of time.
Yeah.
And so you can prepare to do this experiment.
Yes, that's true.
And then, like, you can see growth and receive data back. And then you know it's going to be again in a week and in another week. So, this is really a great opportunity to apply some experiments. So, what do you want to actually change?
Yeah, I haven't actually done this. So this is me processing this in real time. So I
Hmm.
will have to give a follow up on my interactions with Susie. Um, I want to change. What do I want to change?
Well, we know what you want, how you
Yeah.
want to feel.
I want to be myself, which myself is direct, and I recognize that that's not for everyone, and I'm also okay with the fact that that's not for everyone. And I think like being direct has a very negative connotation in general. I'm not mean. I don't sugarcoat things, and I try to be really tactful. So I think that because that's how I operate anyway. I want to feel free to do that. I want to do that. I don't want to just feel free to do that. I want to do that. I want to be able to, like, not sugarcoat things, to be direct, to be tactful. Yes. And respectful, cuz I'm also not out here trying to disrespect people, right?
Right.
So, I think I just want to show up authentically, right? Like, just grounded and clear and direct. That's exactly what I want to do.
So what beliefs about Susie need to change for you so that you can show up authentically? I so wish you guys could see her face right now too.
I am honestly thinking about that. That's a
I
good.
know, I asked a good question.
And I'm also thinking if I need to change my beliefs. Oh, sorry. I'm also thinking, do I need to change my beliefs about Susie in order for me to show up? That would be helpful. But I'm wondering, like, do I actually need to change my beliefs about her? Can I just show up in the way that I want to show up because that's important to me, whether I believe something about Susie or not? Okay, I'm going to answer it twofold.
These are, sorry, just everybody, like the power of questions. Like I asked a question, then Rose took that question, considered it, and added a different question, like got curious around the question. Questions are so, 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 so powerful. Okay.
Agree.
So,
So, if I wanted to change my beliefs about Susie, I could move in the direction that, like, that we were talking about earlier, right? Like, not everybody is a jerk. Well, I guess I didn't say everybody's a jerk, but oftentimes when people behave in this way, there is some context around it, right? I do believe that. Um, I just don't believe that it's always the case, but I could really apply that to Susie in this situation, right? Which would lend itself to feeling some compassion from where she's coming from. I could also just change my beliefs around her being a jerk. Maybe she's not a jerk. Maybe she's exactly like me and she's just direct, right? It comes out a different way, that's for sure, because everybody is saying that they need to get on her good side. So,
right.
well, apparently it comes out a certain way. And perhaps that is something that I just need to change. That would, like I said, I think all of those things would lend themselves to feeling more compassion and would change my behavior. And also, I don't necessarily know that I have to do that. I think I can just show up for myself in a way that feels congruent for me because that's important to me. That is part of my identity. That is part of, like, how I want to carry myself and who I want to be, and that's really important to me. So, I guess I could change my thoughts or my beliefs about her, or I couldn't. Either way, I think it goes back to, like, what kind of person do I want to be?
Hmm.
Right? And I do think that but I do think that there are situations where I have had to change my beliefs about people,
Yeah.
right? And really take in the context of, like, whatever they might be experiencing or things that I don't know that they're experiencing. Yeah, this is one of those that's, like, low stakes enough that I don't know that I necessarily have to do that in order to have a relation to show up the way that I want to.
Right. As you were talking about all this, I started thinking about Susie of just like, and just gatekeepers in general, right? Like, they're oftentimes, especially women, they are running all the things and doing all the things, and they're not getting paid what they deserve. They put in so many hours, and they know that if they stepped away, that this place would fall apart.
Sure would.
And so there is a little bit of like a chip on a shoulder and like thinking about, and I don't know if that's her situation,
Sure.
but like that made me feel a little bit more of compassion towards her. Like it's hard to carry an organization
Mm-hmm.
and
When
have
so many people depend on you.
right. And then to not probably be compensated for it in the appropriate way or have a title that's in an appropriate way. Like that's really hard to
That's
do.
actually a really good point. So, if I were to take that position and contextualize her behavior that way, yeah, there's a lot of compassion to be lent. Yeah.
Okay, so the next step is assessing the data, which we don't have yet because we are just going through it. So you'll have to give us a report back in a couple of weeks
Looking
on,
forward to that.
on how your experiments went. So
Yes.
this was a great conversation, and this is really what aligned communication looks like in real world power dynamics. And
Hmm.
it's not about pushing harder, and it's really not about pulling back, but it is truly about staying grounded and figuring out what you need to do for yourself to get to that point, whether it's something internal for you or a thought process around somebody else or a million different things.
Follow us on Facebook at Communication Skills for Working Women. Also, share this episode with someone navigating office politics. I know you know somebody. And if you're loving the show, please leave us a review because it helps more women find us. Remember, like, you don't need to overpower any of the dynamics. You just need to stay anchored in yourself. I'm going to give you a follow up and let you know how that worked out for me. Could be an epic win, could be an epic fail. We'll see.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Speak clearly and listen bravely.
When you feel confident in your communication, everything changes.
We'd love to hear your wins, failures, and insights on Instagram at Communication Skills for Women. Leave a review and connect with us.
Until next time, speak clearly and listen bravely.